include them in. And just as a reminder, and let's see, I think I'll send it over to Angie. I know I promised Violet, and I need to be able to find Violet. Hang on. We're finding Violet in my messenger. And there we go. There. That'll do. And by the way, if you did share it out, thank you so much. We appreciate it. You know, I used to say, and I still believe this, is that whenever we find a video, a live stream show, a post, a meme, anything that is helpful to our spiritual growth, that it's kind of like a spiritual civic duty is to pass it on, because let me tell you, we're all looking, we're all seeking, searching for information, right? And so sometimes maybe we're the messenger, and so we get to share that with someone else, right? Yeah. So good. All right. So today is September 23rd, and Wednesday. We also have a show coming up after us on Star Nation's live stream shows, and that is Nature Connections. So I'm going to end my show just a little bit early so that if you'd like to join Minnie for her show, you have some time to do that. You will have a little time to run and get something to drink or to head to the bathroom, the loo, if you need to. And so here we go. I'm going to say hi to a couple folks first. Here we go. Rochelle's here. Hello, Rochelle. Thank you. And thank you for telling us or sharing with us that you're grounded. It's always a good thing, right? It's good spiritual hygiene. Cindy Lynn's here too. Hello, Cindy Lynn. It's so good to have you back. I hope you're feeling better. And thank you so much, Rochelle. We appreciate that. Julie's here too. Hello, Julie. It's good to have you back in the house in the afternoon. Done. Thank you. Thank you so much for doing that. Rochelle says, Deb just walked in and she came back from the chiropractor. Hello, Deb. I was at the chiropractor this morning. I have to say that it was a wee bit uncomfortable. It's working. It's doing a good job and is helping me out a lot, but today was a bit painful. My chiropractor, she's such a good person, and she's got a good sense of humor, so we're able to tease a bit about it. And Cindy Lynn says, it really is. I know, it's always good to see you in the house, Cindy Lynn. And Violet's here. Hello, Violet. And Cindy, whoops, we got to get the first one first. There we go. Oh, too fast. Rochelle Lottie, start my chiropractic journey tomorrow. Oh, good for you. Seems like there's a lot of us going to the chiropractor. Cindy Lynn said, I'm nervous. I start the work tomorrow. I know. I can understand that nervousness, Cindy Lynn, to a certain extent. I have been dealing with this kind of stuff since January, and it was progressively getting worse instead of better. And so when I finally was able to get into a chiropractor, I went back to the one that I was seeing about 10 years ago. Not quite that long, but it's pretty close. But because of COVID, they changed their office hours and how they do things, right? And so it took me almost 3 weeks to get in. And so by the time I actually got there, I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait. And so, yeah, it's good stuff though. And I'm glad you were able to get in to see one, a chiropractor. All right, so we continue to use this particular deck, the Sacred Spirit Reading Cards by Anna Stark, illustrated by Lewis Dyer. And they happen to be both from Australia. I think it's Australia. Could be New Zealand. Hang on. I'm going to double check. New South Wales, Australia is where the author is from. And the illustrator is from, he's from the UK. Doesn't say exactly where, but from the UK. Okay. So this particular deck has been hanging out with us for quite some time. I think this is the deck that we have used the longest in the 3 years that I've been doing this show. And so today is no different. We have 2 cards. And so we're going to get started. Since mini show, Nature Connections, coming up after us, I want to give you guys enough time to get there if you want to. Okay. So let's get started. Well, first of all, I'm going to take off the branding down below so we have enough space. There we go. There we go. And I'll put my name up. There. That'll do. All right. So here's the first card. First card of the day. Now, you know that the intention for the card draw is all about showing us what the energy is flowing this week that's important for us to know about, that's helpful for our soul growth, for our soul contracts. And for me, I always add in these days about helping us to remember our joy. Okay, so that was the intention for the card draw for us. And so the first card here is clear and activate. Clear and activate. It's number 9 in the deck. You know, in numerology, 9's all about completion. Clear and activate. Create sacred space. It's about cleansing our environment. You know, and taking a look at the picture, you know, arms open, palms up, ready to receive, right? Noticing the swirling of energy around him or around him. Yeah. You know, and if you take a close look, how his hands are, the chakras in his hands are lit up. The center of his body is lit up through his throat chakra, right? And there's light language on his body. Look at the ends of the tips of his hair, also lit up. He's got light language on his throat, up through his jaw and cheeks. Very interesting. So this is the first card. It's about clear and activate, create sacred space. You know, and before we get into what the author has to say, when we talk about clearing and activating, and clearing and setting sacred space, you know, I've been a space clearer, since I was 13. So that's a really long time. That's over 50 years. And so it's about taking lower vibrational energies, no matter what it is. It could be negative thoughts. It could be stuck energy. It could be entities. It could be a variety of things that are lower vibrational that you want to remove from your environment. Creating that sacred space, filling that space with the kind of energy that you want to have there, a higher energy like love and joy, right? Peace and calm. And so when we do that, it affects not just our physical world, because that's what we sense the easiest, right? Is our physical world, but it also affects our mental mind, our mental body, our emotional body, and our spiritual body. And so when you clear your space, it can be everything from a very elaborate full space clearing with ceremony and, you know, space clearing tools and the altar and, you know, very complete, to something very, very simple and yet still very complete. And that is using the tools that are right at your fingertips. Sometimes for those who know Reiki, they can do Reiki in a space, right? Whether it is a physical space or if it's in your auric body, your spirit bodies, right? We can do that. We can use essential oils and sprays, you know, flower essences, right? We could use stones and crystals. We can use prayer. Yeah. Yeah, so it can be everything from a full-blown, very elaborate kind of ceremony to something very, very quiet and very simple. And it's both are just as effective because what's most important is our intention and where we're at, where we're coming from. If we're coming from our heart space and we have a clear intention, it's just as powerful whether you do the very simple or the very complicated ceremony. So when we clear, it's really taking away anything that is um, interfering with our soul growth, right? Yeah. And so when we're in a sacred space, it's easier to activate those aspects of ourselves, such as our gifts, and to start using them, right? Yeah. And our intuition. So, how many of you clear your space? Whether it's when you're getting ready to meditate, or perhaps you've been having some issues in your life and you realize that you need to clear the template, is what I say. Clear your house, whether it's your physical body or whether it's your physical house. Whether it's your attitude adjustment and adjusting your thoughts, right? And your emotions, that sort of thing. So how many, I'm just curious, those people that are in the live chat, how many of you actually do a space clearing for yourself? Whether it's simple or whether it's more complicated. Let's see. Cindy Lynn saying, I've had the spine pain since I was a kid. I start intensive therapy 3 times a week, but I finally got a lot of answers that regular doctors couldn't give. Good for you. You get some insight, some clarity. Let it, share with us, when you have something come up that that you've had a breakthrough, right? That'd be great. It is a beautiful card. It really is. Hey, Cindy's here too. She says, I feel for me, it's more about my body being my own sacred space. And it certainly is that. It's all of that. Our bodies, plural, we take in so much information in just a really short span of earth time. Okay. Now, if I could remember where this resource or who this resource is, I'll let you know. But our bodies take in 150,000 bits of information per minute. 150,000 bits of information per minute. Yeah, that's a lot, isn't it? Talk about sensory overload. And so with that means that our spirit bodies are adjusting and taking in the information, decoding it when necessary, bringing it in closer and closer and closer to our physical body and our mental mind, and our emotional body, so that we take in the information that is critical for us to know about. Okay. And so you can imagine how much our bodies work for us. So even if it's in your physical home and the energies are off, out of balance, that just means that our bodies work that much harder to get the energies balanced so that we feel comfortable. Okay. And so, Cindy Lynn, so I totally get that, what you say about your physical body, but it really starts further out. It really starts out in our spiritual bodies, our spiritual body, our emotional body, our mental body, and then our physical body. So if something is showing up, like for Cindy Lynn and I, our back issues, right, our physical pain, that means that has been out in our physical bodies for a really long time in order for it to manifest into our physical bodies. Yeah. So when we do a clearing, we're moving a lot of energy so that we can get the lower vibrational energies moved out and bring in higher vibrational energies, higher frequency energies, that are better to support our soul growth. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's been, yeah, I do this a lot. I really do. All right. So Violet says, I clear my meditation space with crystals every day, but I don't think about my body. Yeah. So light bulb moment, right? Cindy Lynn said, so true. So true. And she's saying, yep, LOL, my entire life. That's right. That's right. Okay. Now, here's the thing about this particular message. We have to take it in context of the energy in which we find ourselves, right? The energy field in which we live, which the energy field that we're in today is so much different than it was this time last year. Everything before the virus was totally different, right? And so now we get this particular information from spirit. So what does it mean for us today in the energy field that we find ourselves in today? Okay. So here's what the author says. She says, everything in the universe consists of energy. It is a continual state of creation and recycling, adapting and changing to its current environment, interacting with everything that comes in contact with it. So there's many ways that you can clear and activate chakras, energy fields, meridians, power centers, and your higher self. Energetic clearing applies to all areas of our life. The collective energy, physical energy exchanges, psychic information, spirit contact, and your home or workplace can be very overwhelming if you don't prepare yourself for all these levels of interaction. When you're faced with a challenging moment, your energy centers become affected. A to and fro struggle or a push-pull factor comes into play as you navigate these issues or interactions. I'm going to stop there just for a second because most of us have been around the spiritual block many times, decades worth, some of us, right? And no matter how long we've been working on our healing aspects, our mental and emotional traumas, no matter how often we have done space clearings, okay, the energy field that we're living in today, yeah, it was like taking and flipping it, right? Flipping it. And so if you find yourself reacting, some people would say being triggered by certain things that you thought you had taken care of, that hasn't been a trigger for you for a long time, and all of a sudden here it is, that just means that you're able to clear the next vibrational level of it, that you're able to heal the next vibrational level of it. Okay. Yeah. And it's not a bad thing. You know, it's when we try to ignore it, we keep pushing through. That would be me. That we end up with a situation that is much more critical, right? Yeah, and I'm sure you guys have heard me say before that, you know, situations, events that are very shocking to us, or it's a part of a life lesson for us, they're so much easier to deal with when they're small than when they keep growing and growing until we can't ignore them anymore, right? And we usually, by that time, we've gotten the cosmic 2x4, and nobody enjoys that. Nobody. And so just take into context the information that's coming through today, that if there's something out there that has been triggering you and you're finding yourself uncomfortable with something, and possibly it's something that you thought you've taken care of and haven't had to deal with for a long time, and now all of a sudden it's here in front of you. Yeah. See, when I read the information about this card this morning and I sat with it, I thought, Man, that's so true because, I've never had sciatica I had it once back in, I think it was 1998, and it was never to this extent. And so here it is, and what is that all about? And some of it is being triggered by what's going on out there in the chaos in that third dimension. And others is past life stuff, you know, but both past life, this life, and past life in another lifetime. And so, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to heal it, to clear it, right? Yeah, to learn from it. That's the big one. Because once we learn from it, that means that we have a life lesson that we're dealing with. And once we learn the life lesson and we apply what we learn, then we're adding to our wisdom. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. Even though I sometimes sit here with pain, I know that it's an opportunity. The author goes on to say that activating and clearing the energy centers through meditation or chakra balancing will improve your mental endurance. Your mental endurance. I think that the key word there is endurance, right? Stamina, because we're not done with this big shift and change that the whole world is going through. And so the more that we can heal and clear and release and raise the vibration around us and within us, the better off we're going to be. And this is a good reminder for us, right? It says, currently you may be feeling emotionally sensitive and hypersensitive to your environment, including weather and atmospheric pollution. Take positive steps to create an energetically supportive environment and understand the relationship with yourself. And when I read that, I was thinking about all those people who are experiencing the effects of the hurricanes, right? The effects of the wildfires going on out west, which are horrendous more than any other year, and how the air quality is so bad out west because of the smoke, right? And for some people, triggering old asthmatic situations, the allergic reactions, those kinds of things, right? Yeah. So, everything that we experience, we have to pay attention to and ask our spiritual team, okay, so why am I experiencing this? What does this mean? What am I supposed to do with this? Right? So that we can get to the root of whatever it is, and so we can heal it and release it. All right. So here she goes on to say, right now you need to switch focus. Being caught up in gossip, jealous conversations, participating in lower energy activities, repeated dramas, and toxic environments must all be shifted now if you want to live a better life. You must be accountable for your actions and reactions. Encouraging us to spend time outdoors. We can refresh our mind and bring us back to the present moment. Negative and imbalanced energies can shift through natural light and atmospheric absorption through plant life. So once we get outside, outdoors, right, we feel better. And I have to admit that to be true. I have to take short walks. When I say short, I mean short. It's like a block. And but to get outside, and by the time I come in, I do feel a shift. It's different, right? Yeah, and here's the other thing is that there's such talk about imbalance going on out there, politically especially, right? And I'm not saying we should be ducking and hiding and not paying attention, because we need to pay attention, but we don't have to be drawn into the drama, right? We don't have to be drawn into the divisiveness of it. That doesn't mean that you may be triggered by certain conversations, but you have to pay attention to what's going on your side of the street, right? Why were you triggered? Why did it hurt your feelings, or why did it make you angry, right? So those kind of triggers are really early warning, right? That this is something's going on here. You have to pay attention to it. I know. Sometimes it's not fun, and especially to have those kind of conversations with somebody that you care about, and you realize that you're on different pages when it comes to divisive kind of things, like, I don't know, the one that pops into my head is everything around Ruth Bader Ginsburg's, her walking on in the appointment of the next judge, right? Doesn't mean that we are hiding from it, or we don't pay attention to it, because it's a part of the evolution. We need to pay attention, but we don't have to get caught up in the drama, the lower vibrations of it, right? I know, easier said than done. Oh my gosh. All right. Cindy is saying, can you explain why I haven't had any pain lately after so many years of it? Obviously, you healed something. You healed something at the root level of something, and you were able to heal it and let it go. Yeah. Which is good. Congratulations. It's party time. It's celebration time. It's a happy dance in the kitchen time, which is great. And whatever you learned around it too, Cindy, whatever you learned around it, you get to apply it to the rest of your life, right? And that's your wisdom. You just gained a whole lot of wisdom. That's what I mean for it's happy dance in the kitchen time. Yeah. Violet said, a lot of deep stuff coming up to the surface. Yes, it is. Absolutely it is. And we have to pay attention to it, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's kind of scary, right? You have to take a look at what's triggering the fear, what's triggering the nervousness, right? Because that is an indicator for us. We can take a look at it, and we can call on our spiritual team, because we're not going through this alone. Calling on our spiritual team to help us with it. I have to tell you that it's been quite a while. It's probably about 2 months. I was falling asleep, but I wasn't quite asleep yet, and I wasn't quite awake. So it's that in-between state. Because I was talking to my team earlier, and I was saying, okay, I need to deal with this pain situation. It's really starting to affect my sleep, the quality of life. I need to get a handle on this. What is it that I'm missing? And as I was falling asleep, I heard one of my spiritual team say to me, I can help you with that. And help me with what? With your pain. And what they showed me was the bioelectrical pieces in there. And so that's when I said, okay, maybe it's acupuncture. I tried to get into an acupuncturist again. Well, that didn't work. And then I tried to get into the chiropractor. And so I had to be patient with it, right? And so we do have our tools. Everything we need is right here at our fingertips. Everything. I know, sometimes you think, really? Can't be that easy. But it is. All right. Cindy Lynn saying, haha, that was spot on. I've been feeling all of that. Well, good. Excellent, Cindy Lynn. Yeah, and she's sending a heart. And she's also saying, so true. I feel that shift just stepping out the front door. I know. And if we're anything alike like this, Cindy Lynn, we're not going very far. I mean, it's literally If I'm lucky, down the driveway and up the block just a little bit. It's not very far, right? Not very, but there's so much there. And just to be able to walk out, even if it's cloudy out, it still feels good. Even better with the sunshine. Hey, look who's in the house. Look who's in the house is Minnie Kansman, my sister. She says, "Hi Neshi, all ready for my show, so popping on for a bit. Yay." We're gonna end this show just a little bit early so that those who want to join you for your show, they'll have a little time in between to run to the loo or to get something to drink. Yeah, and show up for nature connections. City Lynn says, "Sounds like the conversation I had with my spiritual team. Love that mind shower is a chirp is on the Facebook the next day. Oh, it shows up on Facebook the next day. Yeah, we have to really pay attention to all those synchronicities, don't we? We certainly do. I know that autocorrect, isn't it? And it's always harder on my phone for whatever reason. She's also saying they showed me an advertisement on Facebook. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Because we're shown all the time. We just have to pay attention to it. Gotta slow down, pay attention, right? All right, so here's the first card, and it is Clear and Activate. It's about creating sacred space. It's about removing lower vibrational energies from your environment. And your environment can mean your physical environment, your home, your office, your work, but also your physical body. Also from your light bodies, your spiritual body, your mental body, and your emotional body. And it really does matter what we ingest. It really does. Everything from our food and our water, what we drink, but it also includes what we listen to, the music, what we read, what we take in. What videos are you watching? How many people get caught up in watching the conspiracy stuff, right? I don't even like to call it conspiracy because maybe there's a grain of truth to it, but it takes it's a lower vibration. It's a lower vibration. So you really have to be prepared. If you're going to watch any of that stuff, is really prepared for it. Make sure you're grounded, centered, and protected. Go ahead and watch it if you want to, but be careful about getting caught up in the separateness, the divisiveness, the us against them stuff. Yeah. All right. So, the affirmation that goes with this card says, "I am a clear beacon of infinite, pure, platinum white light. It radiates through me and all around me." Oh, I like that. I'm going to read it again. "I am a clear beacon of infinite, pure, platinum white light. It radiates through me and all around me." And for those of you that have an activated Merkaba, that is a really good description of what our Merkaba looks like, feels like. Pure platinum white light radiates through me and all around me. Yeah. All right, so keep this one close to your heart, the information from this card, because the second card is very interesting. It's called Eternal Union. Eternal Union. New love is forming. It's number 15 in the deck. That's a 6. Eternal union. All right. So if you are in a relationship, it's possible that it's about your relationship. But the feeling I had about it is that it's the balance between our sacred feminine and our sacred masculine within us. And so whenever we have balance in our energies, right, we come from a more stable place within us. it's not easy for energies to knock us off balance. When we're grounded, centered, and balanced, we can take those shocking moments much easier, right? We don't necessarily get all caught up into the drama or the hysteria or the panic of it all. Not to say that we don't recognize it, we don't see it, or perhaps we actually feel the emotions of the people that are involved in all of that, but it doesn't have to absorb us and knock us off our feet, right? Yeah. And when I first took a look at this card, I thought, oh, eternal love, new love is forming. But perhaps it's those of us that are really just loving ourselves, getting acquainted with what it feels like to have the balance of our sacred feminine and sacred masculine, right? Strengthening your relationships. And I really do believe that this is the relationship to ourself. The author says that in a lifetime, we're destined to meet many members of our soul group and soul family. Many of them enter through life as a soulmate, fated to teach us lessons about unconditional love in ourselves. A soulmate can be a friend, family member, work colleague, partner, neighbor, or someone you strongly disagree with, clashing with every time you're around each other. Which is true, right? It could be about your soulmate. But when I read that, I thought, oh, how many times have I felt uncomfortable with myself? How many times did I feel like, that I was just not myself? Out of sorts is what my mom would say. You're out of sorts. You need a nap. That was when we were kids. She'd send us to get a nap. And so, yeah. So I think it could be about your soulmate and those trigger points that we're talking about, right? But it also could be about the relationship that you have with yourself. How balanced are you with that? With your sacred masculine, sacred feminine? So right now you're being encouraged to actively listen to others. For those who you despise or see as enemies, view these people as possible soul connections. They are there to teach you your life lessons and challenge your structured belief systems. So when we're out of balance with ourselves, it's hard. It is so much of a challenge to listen to comments or opinions that are so far from our own, right? That we don't have the patience for them. We don't want to listen to them. We kind of shut down, right? But when we're comfortable in our own skin, when we're grounded, centered, and protected, and we are comfortable with our balance of the male and female energies within us, those sacred energies, we can actually sit down and have those kind of conversations with others that are true conversations, right? That they don't digress to yelling at each other or calling each other names or belittling the other, right? Because of their beliefs or whatever that is, especially these days. Holy smokes. Even over the simplest things of whether you wear a mask or not wear a mask. And so it's easy to slip into the lower vibrational energies when you're not balanced. When you're not balanced. Yeah, and we don't have as much access to our gifts when we're out of balance. They're still there. Can't get rid of them. They're always there, but we may not be using them to our full advantage. right? Yeah. So here's the affirmation for this particular card is I'm living and loving expression of the eternal union. I am blessed. I am blessed. So, the second card always supports the first card. And so with the first card, it was about creating that sacred space and removing that lower vibrational energies, right, in our lives. And so, and we can do that, and we can actually sense those things so much easier when we are balanced, when we're balanced. Yeah. One of the things that we've taught others when about space clearing is that as a space clearer, you have to go in as prepared as possible, right? So we just don't go in just to do the space clearing. It starts days sometimes beforehand. And we also have to prepare ourselves so that when we go in, we're as clean, quote unquote, clean as possible. It's our ego is in a balanced place. Our mental mind is in a balanced place, and so it really is all about our client, the person that we are in service to. And so we get prepared. We prepare ourselves before we even start working with the space. Right? And so this is no different. This is no different. I think it's really letting us know, Spirit is really letting us know is that is to be in a balanced place. Be in a balanced place. So that when you do setting your own created, your own sacred space, that you're coming from a place of your heart and in a balanced way, right? So you can really take in what's really there, not what is that you're triggered by only, right? Does that make sense? I hope it does. All right. So Cindy Lynn is saying, sounds like the conversation I had with, okay, we did that one. Yeah. Sorry about that. And yeah, Cindy Lynn saying, falling back in love with myself. Exactly. Exactly true. I'm my own soulmate as well. Yeah, it's true. It's very true. Our soul is not a part of the linear world, right? Our soul exists in many, many different planes of existence, different dimensions. And so, yeah, of course, our soul self, we need to have that relationship with that part of ourselves. I think so. All right. So I'm going to show you the two cards together. And we've learned over the years that this is a very powerful moment with the energy of the cards. And so if you haven't done your grounding yet today, thank you, Rochelle, for doing yours. Is just take a moment and connect with Grandmother Earth and feel yourself, connected to her. Okay, getting grounded. And so then calling to your spiritual team to come close. They're always there, but to come close and to help you to take in the information that's meant for you from these cards in an optimal way, in an optimal amount. Okay. All right. So we're going to do this. All right. So here are the two cards together. The two cards together. Clear and activate, creating sacred space. Right? That was the first card. So it's really about being in creating a space around you and within you. That's a blessed space. It has the highest vibration for you to support you, both a physical space and a non-physical space. Right? And the second card is the eternal union. And it really, for me, I think the way it felt for me is that we're talking about the balance of the sacred feminine, sacred masculine within us. So that when we come from a balanced place, we can set the sacred space so much easier. And we can see things more clearly. When I say see, put that in quotation marks, okay? It's going to help us to be able to navigate through the energy that's flowing this week. And if it's a life lesson that you're working on, setting your sacred space and raising your vibration is always helpful. Being balanced is always helpful, no matter what. Yeah. So for me, the cards are telling us this week is that we have the capability. We are able to shift the energy around us and within us. We can create our sacred space so that whatever is going on around us, that we're coming from a good centered place, so that we can take in the information that's coming, that's swirling around. We can discern for ourselves what's a truth for us and what's not, right? And we can create that sacred space anytime, anywhere. And when we're a balanced being, it's so much easier to come from that place to do that kind of work for ourselves, right? To set that sacred space. So, wow. It's good. It's a good reminder, I think, because we're all experiencing shocking moments, right? We're all experiencing shifts in our lives, changes. Some of them are abrupt, aren't they? And some of them not so abrupt. But we can experience it from a place of being from a sacred place within us, because when we have that inside, then everything around us shifts to that frequency. Yeah, here we go. My goodness. Rochelle says, good show. Thank you, Rochelle, and thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. So I'm looking at the time. I know I wanted to give you time to join Minnie for her show, Nature Connections, coming up at the top of the hour. And with her show, it's going to be about the spirit of water. It's a good one. I hope you guys can join her. And here's the thing about the cards and the information, the spiritual conversation we just had. If anything resonated with you, my suggestion is to embrace it and then watch, sense, feel, see how the energy unfolds around you this week and where this information could be helpful to you. Okay? Yeah. And if it didn't resonate, don't worry about it. It's okay. No worries. You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings, especially mine. You can wait till next week because you never know what spirit and the cards are going to bring next week. Maybe that one's for you. Maybe you're the messenger. And you can send the recorded show to someone that is going to be looking for this information. You never know. You never know. And so, yeah. And I want to say thank you to everybody who joined me today for this show. I appreciate it. There's something about our community and the people who show up to interact really during these live streams, and I really do appreciate it. I love our conversations. I do. We always learn a little bit more from each other than just one of us. Isn't that true? I think so. Okay. So join me next week for the Spiritual Roundtable on Wednesday afternoon. Got to put that back up. Wednesday afternoons at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 Central, and we'll see what Spirit has for us next week. Okay? All right. So, Bama Mina, that's Potawatomi for until we see each other again. Love you guys.